All right, we are here at the electrical.
No, wrong conference.
Wrong conference.
So this is what happens after spending 3 days in New Orleans.
Yes, it is.
4 nights.
IEEE PCIC.
Petroleum and Chemical Industry Conference.
Petroleum and Chemical Industry
And you guys can tell Thomas and I are tired.
Yes.
That's why we're doing those lazy chairs.
Absolutely.
Please don't judge us.
Yes, don't judge us.
It's been long nights.
Yesterday I got to call up Event Moby. Remember when you're at this conference, Event Moby is your best friend.
Yeah.
It's an app.
On your phone or tablet.
Yes, and I can't remember. There it is, Event Moby. I couldn't remember how to search on an iPad. Okay, so this is the 12th. Today's the 12th, and so today was an interesting day because now yesterday, to your point, yesterday was the safety track and a few others. This was a little bit different. The morning sessions, there were some good papers this morning, and the afternoon sessions were the committee meetings.
Subcommittee meetings.
Now, the key thing on the subcommittee, now when someone wants to present a paper, hey, Felix Sandoval, excellent. He's online.
Go on, Felix.
How's it going, Felix? So when someone wants to present a paper at IEEE PCIC, and when I say a paper, it would be you have a technical topic, maybe an example.
An abstract, an idea.
An abstract, right. Yeah, so you have an idea on...
You don't need to have the paper ready. It's just an idea.
Right.
Just share it with the group.
That's right. So you submit your abstract, which is like a paragraph and a title, and then who the authors will be. And then in each of these subcommittees, because we just come out, it's fresh in my mind, I think I might as well talk about it now.
To your point,
so
you don't even have to have all your authors aligned.
Right.
It could be like I have potential authors, because it's nice to partner with industry and different groups. So even if you don't have all your authors lined up yet, this shouldn't stop you from submitting your ideas.
So at 12:45, the standards subcommittee met, and they didn't go over papers for standards. They went over the status of each of the standards that are being worked on by IEEE PCIC.
Yeah, the standard is sponsored by PCIC because the standard is sponsored by a committee. And PCIC, as a technical committee, sponsors different standards, which if you have watched our first day video, Sunday video, we talked about 1584 and 1814. 1814, these are the standards that are sponsored by PCIC.
Right. So now, starting at 2:15 is when each of the subcommittees started to meet. And we're going to talk about the subcommittees first, and then we'll talk about the technical papers that were presented in the morning. So there was a chemical subcommittee. Now, the one I went to was the international subcommittee. Which one did you go to a subcommittee in the first?
I went to mining.
You went to mining. Okay, so I'm going to talk about what happened at at the international subcommittee. So the international subcommittee is focuses on papers that are presented that are international in nature. It could be somebody from another country who's presenting about codes and standards or an application. Could be a motor application, could be something related to the petrochem industry, but with an international flavor to it. But we could present an IEEE paper that would be international, even though we reside here in the United States. Excuse me, that maybe pulls in IEC committee or something like that. So the group reviewed. In the beginning, we reviewed the status of like when were the last meetings. We talked about there's a PCIC Europe, there is a PCIC Middle East, and we talked about the dates of when those were, or when they're going to come up for next year. I've got like a cough going on. 1 second. Hold on. All right. I had to clear my throat. So we went over first where those committees are and all that good stuff. And then we reviewed each paper abstract. And if the author was in the room, they could stand at the microphone and sort of pitch their paper.
It's like a 1-2 minutes pitch. It's not like a long pitch.
Exactly.
It's like, hey, this is the idea. These are my authors.
And they take any questions.
Yeah.
And then after we go through all of the different papers, You open up the Event Mobi app and you vote on which paper you would like to hear. And then what the committee does is tallies up the votes from these meetings and determines which paper will be presented on the agenda next year's PCIC.
In Orlando.
In Orlando, that's right.
It'll be in Orlando.
All right. So the one that I attended was the International Subcommittee, and you know what? I thought I took some notes. PCIC Europe, PCIC Brazil, April 16th. So there's a PCIC Brazil, there's a PCIC Europe and Middle East. There was accepting. They also during our meeting they accepted walk-ons. So we had, I think, eight papers,
Like a walk-in, yeah.
and there was one walk-in. No, actually it was 10, and one walk-in, so 11. The one was on pressurized air, meaning they're going to, like, if you pressurize an area, how it keeps the chemicals and whatnot out. They had an exponential advantages of combining methods of protection in hazardous locations. And Vince Saporita, who used to work for Bussman, who's retired, he put one in. His issue that he is talking about is on the fact that you can have an attack via a pulse, electromagnetic pulse, to take out the grid, take out computers,
Electronics.
and all your electronics. So what he's trying to do is raise the awareness on what are the threats in regard to EMP. And so he had a really nice abstract written. I'm not sure. He asked a lot of questions. So his strategy, this was interesting, because you got to remember, when you come to this meeting, people are going to vote on it. So you have to make you want your paper selected. So you have to make your abstract,
It's
intriguing.
Like it's a sales pitch.
Yeah.
Selling your idea.
You're selling your idea. So what he did was he had question after question after question in his description.
That's cool.
And then someone said, "Wow, a lot of questions." And I said, "I guess we're going to have him deliver the paper to know the answers."
Well, I'm glad that Vince might be coming back, because I've known Vince for years. He retired from Eaton, I guess Bussman.
Yeah.
Eaton, and he's a good guy, very knowledgeable.
And the other one that I thought was interesting was the application of IEEE 1584 to IEC equipment.
Oh yeah.
And what they're doing there is saying, okay, look, remember the dimensions that we have in IEEE 1584 is based on US, UL listed type of products, but what about the IEC market? What are the gaps and the physical characteristics of the equipment that would be different for IEC type of equipment?
Oh, yeah.
So that was the international discussion. And again, they balloted and they're going to pick the papers for 2024. So you said you went to mining?
Mining, yeah.
What was your what was your takeaway on mining?
Okay, so I guess I should just give a quick overview. So mining, I mean, this is a petroleum and chemical industry conference, right?
Right.
So our viewers might be wondering why mining is here.
That's a good point.
Mining is not, petrochem. So mining used to. So I guess should back up. On the Industry Application Society, we have 4 technical departments. As of this year, January of this year, I'm chairing one of the 4 technical departments, the Process Industries Department. And the Process Industry Department has 6 technical committees.
Right.
PCIC is one of them, Petroleum and Chemical Industry. Pulp and Paper, we did, not this year, last year, live from Pulp and Paper in Niagara Falls. You guys watched that. Electric Safety, we were at the Electric Safety Workshop. So Electric Safety is another committee. We were in Reno.
Yes.
Tom and I went live every day. Metals committee, subcommittee.
Yep.
Cement, and the 6th one is mining. So all 6 technical committees are process industry oriented. Technical committees, and they're under the Process Engineering Department, which I'm chairing. So last year, Mining Committee decided to join forces with Petroleum and Chemical Industry to have their annual meeting here with PCIC, because they used to meet somewhere else, and they're not getting that many people. So they thought if they join forces with PCIC, it would be a good place, and it's been working. There, I guess we have like almost 50 people, 45 people attending. Back in the day, they had like maybe a dozen people.
Oh, wow.
Right? So, and this is the 2nd year. So last year they started to try this for the first time. They only had 6 papers. and they liked it, so they came back this year, and they have 9 papers.
9 papers.
Presented.
Okay.
They have the presenting mining papers being presented this year. So for next year, they received 15 proposals in total. 1 walk-in and 14 were previously submitted. Very similar to what Tom discussed. The executive committee chair and the vice chair, secretary of the mining committee went through the proposals, and you had the same thing. You pull up your app and you vote 5 stars with high interest level, 1 star low interest level, whatever. And again, some authors were, or at least a representation of the authors. Maybe one author was present, gets to speak to his. I'm going to say his because we didn't have female authors, unfortunately. But so the author would speak to his proposal, like Tom was talking about. The same deal with the international subcommittee, and those authors were not present. The vice chair of the mining subcommittee was running the meeting, or was during that portion of the meeting. She showed Nicole, so she read the abstract and gave people a few minutes, maybe a minute or 2 to think about it and vote. By the end of the meeting, everything was kind of voted on, and we still don't know the results yet. But pretty soon, I guess, like what Tom said, everything will be tallied, and the I don't know if they're doing 9 papers next year or maybe more, but let's say 9 like this year. So out of the 15, the top 9, the highest 9 ranked papers will get to be presented next year. Or I should say, not papers, abstracts. Because at this point in time, we don't really have a paper.
That's
an
right.
idea,
Abstract,
right? Even many of the authors didn't have the older authors, co-authors lined up. So like, I'm talking to a partner from industry or another manufacturer or so on forth. So it's still early at this stage, it's very early, but once you're accepted, there'll be a lot of work. So there's some deadlines to meet, get the first draft, send it to reviewers. And another thing, I'm sure the international committee the subcommittee had the same deal. We're always looking for reviewers. So
everybody's looking for a reviewer.
Even if you're not attending, you can review papers online.
So that's an important aspect to understand with regard to IEEE papers that you see. All of these papers get what we call a peer review. So what you write gets reviewed by all of your peers. So it's like if you had an article for a magazine and you submitted the article and they took that article and sent it out to 20 different people to said, give me your comments. And then as the author or authors, you get all of that feedback and you have to address those comments in your paper. They may identify technical issues, grammatical issues. There's a lot of different things. Or tell you, look, this is a great paper, but you forgot this. And then it gives you the opportunity to add that information. So
sometimes they even ask a question, like they don't even know the answer, and this question will poke another, this is maybe an area I should explore. So adds value to the paper, or it could be part 2, like a follow-up paper, because based on the feedback that you receive from peers. That's how this is how IEEE works. We're all volunteers, help each other.
That's right. We all help. We work each other. We work with each other as an industry to help each other grow in technical knowledge and improve the electrical industry. So you had. I was at the international. You went to the mining. There's
both of us were at safety.
And then we were both at
subcommittee means some of them are running in parallel, so you can't be at 2 places. So mining and international at the same time. So Tom and I couldn't be in the same room.
Right. So standards and safety were not in parallel, but the ones that were in parallel, there's a chemical subcommittee, an electrochem and ET subcommittee. There's an international subcommittee, which I went to, Marine, which you went to.
Yeah, I think it's emerging technologies. The emerging technologies, I think what stands for emerging technologies.
What does?
The subcommittee you just mentioned.
Marine?
No, not Marine.
I said Marine.
something, emerging technologies, I think it's called.
I didn't, I didn't say. I had Marine subcommittee, and then we had midstream subcommittee, mining subcommittee, production subcommittee, and then refining subcommittee. So those are all of the different subcommittees that met, and each of those reviewed papers, and those would be reviewed for, and those are like the tracks. To your point.
And FYI, I know Tom and we don't have the scope of each subcommittee memorized off the top of our heads. Like safety is easy, mining is easy. But if you're interested, on the PCIC website, if you look up IEEE PCIC, I think it's ispcic.org, I think. So if you pull it up, the scope of each subcommittee will be defined. So you can read the scope and figure out which subcommittee is more I guess, relevant to your idea, your abstract.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the web address is IEEE PCIC.com.
Yeah.
Yep, and that'll get you to the main page for the for the Petroleum and Chemical Industry Committee. Now, again, like we said yesterday, and I had this discussion again with somebody today. I can't remember. He made the comment that he's not in the petrochem industry, but he comes to this because they talk about motors, they talk about power distribution, power systems engineering, right? So the yeah. So and when you look at some of the papers, there's just so much from an international perspective, from a domestic perspective. Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to say, from a mining perspective. So when I was in Santiago, Chile, they commented that mining is big in that country.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of countries in South America where there's mining for, and it could be anything. You know, in West by God, Virginia, it's coal. But when you go down south and whatnot, you're into the materials that you'll find in electric vehicle batteries, right? And whatnot. So if you're into mining or you're in a country where mining is important, the PCIC is a place where you'll find some good technical discussions. And I think for the most part, I mean, there was one paper that we were both in today that was very math. I mean, it was like
Very technical.
It was very, very technical. But that's not the norm at this event. There's a lot of information that's shared that is down to earth, understandable, and the papers are very readable.
And you know, a lot of it is hands-on experience. So you get plant engineers running facilities, reporting on issues or a problem that they had, so people in the audience can relate.
That's right.
To Tom's point, so I live in, I guess most of you guys know already, I live in Saskatchewan, Canada, and mining is big in Saskatchewan where I live.
That's right.
Potash. So like all the potash, it comes out of Saskatchewan. It's very
Potash?
heavily, potash.
What do they use potash for?
For fertilizers.
Oh,
Yeah, it's just like the.
I always
like
said
calcium.
you were full of it.
I know. Since I lived there. It's fertilizers, like the potassium, right?
Okay.
It's like they get the potash and they do the processing and use it for fertilizers. So all the food that we eat is.
Right.
And Saskatchewan is probably, I can remember, we were like second, third in the world in terms of potash. It's heavily mining.
And is that because potash is a different topic? I gotta Google it because now I'm interested. But
Yeah, potassium.
in any case,
For fertilizer. But I guess to that point, we talked about safety. Safety applies to any field, right?
Right.
We're talking about, like Tom was saying, switchgear, switchboard, I guess MCCs, motors, drives. Those are all topics that are covered here from a petrochem industry perspective, but this doesn't mean that if you're in another industry and use motors, you can benefit from being here.
absolutely.
Because motors are motors, right? Electricity doesn't know if you're in a petrochem facility or pulp and paper or, right? It's electricity, electronics or electronics.
That's
electrons, should say.
Okay, so now tomorrow so let me just look, and then tonight are all of the hospitality rooms again. I've got a dinner planned with our Kraus Heinz group, which is hazardous locations equipment. And then and we got Panduit and all that other good stuff. So now tomorrow I am going to be flying around 5 something like that.
So we have to go live early because Tom has to go to
we'll go live probably right after lunch. We're hoping to get the future chairs of the committee to.
So this year's chair.
This year,
next
year's chair.
We did this last year.
Yeah, we did it last year.
Denver and New Orleans. Hopefully this year will be New Orleans and Orlando.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
New Orleans and Orlando.
This year, Orlando next year.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So and then so tomorrow is going to be again. There's going to be. We didn't talk about the papers from this morning. That's what we missed.
Yeah, right.
All right. So let's talk about the papers. So we had.
It's getting late. It's been a long day.
Yep. Chemistry. We had INT. We had modern IED data capture. We had the integral role of electric motors in achieving sustainability. Management of electric motors life cycle at oil and gas industrial facilities, predictive motor failure prevention in refinery using cloud-based motor current signature, fire and blast hazards in petroleum facilities, design practices for electrical enclosures. That was I wish I would have gone to that one. And then there was an oak alley. This is for the guests. Oak Alley Plantation with Southern Brunch.
They get the fun.
Wow.
They
get the fun
They go on
part.
tours.
Yes.
They go to papers.
You know what? I got to tell Bobby Joe she's got to get involved with this so I can come and be
great
like
if she can come, yeah.
and be the guest, and she can go to the technical programs.
So you'll be the guest.
You know, I'll be the guest.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I got to get her into.
I don't know how Bobby Joe would feel about this.
I don't know. She might like. She
Ever
might
sitting in
enjoy
an engineering presentation for like all day?
it. Yeah.
I
And
don't
she
know,
can take
Tom.
notes.
I don't know.
And then you had consideration of bus protection on gas-insulated switchgear, a three-phase fault case study. So that was a case study. The challenges in offshore power systems, pushing HVAC transmission to the limit. So that sounds like an interesting. And then testing and commissioning of integrated protection and control solutions for synchronous motors. Development of a novel method for continuous neutral ground. That's the one.
That's the one we went
That
to.
was one of the ones we went to. That was a good paper. A comparison of standards, practices, guides, specifications, and codes and regulations. How to maximize their benefit in the petrochem industry. Stator windings on insulation systems. There were variable shunt reactor controls, the energy prescription for petrochemical industry, the energy prescription. It's a prescription. It's like I'm going to give you a script, you know? You're going to go to the...
Yeah. You're going to the pharmacy. You're
going to the pharmacy. Yeah, it's like...
Make you feel better.
You need some vitamin L.
Yeah.
The use of advanced catalytic technology in a methane abatement application. Some of these would not be appropriate for an electrical.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem. But again, it's
But I mean, they're
more
different.
than just electrical.
Yeah,
right?
we have like almost 1,500 people in attendance, so there are all going to be audience who are interested in those papers.
1,500.
Yeah, close. I don't have the exact numbers yet, but it's plus minus 1,500. So more than what we had in Denver.
Yeah, and then finally, there's the considerations for making the switch from steam turbines to large motor drives for ethylene.
I have no idea what this is.
I have no idea.
It sounds cool.
Yeah. it does.
But to Tom's point too, you may be wondering, how can I attend all these papers in a couple hours? You don't have to, because oftentimes you have two papers that you really want to go to, and then
Right.
they're just running at the same time. So what ends up happening is you pick one, but you have access to the paper. You can read the paper. You know the author. In the evening, we do the hospitality suites. You can meet the authors, talk to them in person, and then connect with them offline.
And you can also connect with them through the event Mobi.
Right. So yeah, the app, you have the contact information. You can send a message, like more like a text.
I've had a few people contact me through the app who knew me, didn't know my email address and my phone number, but they knew I was here, so they found me on the app and sent me a message, say, hey, I want to connect.
That's good. See, I never got anyone connecting with me. It's like Thomas.
Oh, you know what I'll do here?
No one ever messaged me anything. I'm heartbroken.
So here's what I'm going to do.
I know.
I'm going to go to.
Oh, you're not gonna send me a message. I have your contact information.
I'm going to go to attendees, and I'm going to search for Nehad, Nehad.
I don't even have my picture up on the app so people would know.
I have my picture too.
I know.
There you are, Nehad El-Sherif. And I'm going to say, send a message. And I'm going to say, let's do the hospitality room tonight. Hospitality room tonight.
Yeah, after you come back from dinner.
After dinner.
Business dinner. Cool.
Okay, and then I'm going to hit send.
And I'm waiting for it, see if I receive it.
Yep. And that was sent. So now you have access to all of the attendees who, whenever you subscribe, that's another important thing. When you register for the event, you have to say whether or not you want your contact information published in the attendee list.
Right.
And then that attendee list is included in the Event Mobi app, and you can see everybody who's here, and then
Oh, it's right here. I was looking for it. So somehow it's in my notification, but I guess it doesn't have a pop-up notification.
Ah, okay.
So you have to open it. But it says here, Tom, I got it on the app. So I can just, I guess, reply. Do you guys think I should accept this invite? I'm not sure if I can trust that
What do you
guy.
think? Thumbs up?
Should
Thumbs up
I?
if you
Yeah.
guys should accept. So put it in the chat
Yeah.
and I'll,
Like the
maybe I
video.
shouldn't. Maybe I should say
Yeah. Like the video, just hit thumbs up twice.
no. Yeah. So, no,
don't like
no,
it, if
no,
you don't
no.
like it.
If you like it, hit it once.
If you don't like it,
If you
twice.
don't want to like it and you want to hit the thumbs down, you got to hit it.
Yeah, twice.
You got to hit it twice. And
I'm
that's
saying.
just, I think that's just the way YouTube works.
Yeah, so here's the thing, Tom. I guess it's so hard, but yeah, it's Tom's message, it's
Yep.
Tom's picture. So I can reply, it's like,
Perfect.
hey, Tom, let's connect.
That's right.
And
So they give you ways to build your network at these events. I've talked to people about codes and standards. There are people here that sit on code making panels, that sit on UL standards and IEC standards. So we were able to connect and talk about all of the different items that are the hot topics. Like right now, it's the NEC public inputs, right?
We're going to start like, within a couple of weeks.
And within a couple weeks, the task groups are going to start. I just had an individual who had an idea, and actually he put a public input in, and he wanted to know, how do I, am I allowed to present? And I'm just like, well, yeah, present to the task group.
Yeah.
And I helped him understand how to get to the task group and get on the committee so he can present to the task group. You do have to get permission, and they'll tell you how much time you have to speak. And then you can also speak in Charleston, South Carolina, where the meeting is going to be, and
Just reach out to the chair of the code making panel you're interested in.
Exactly.
And get a permission. You get 5 minutes to present your idea.
Yep.
And I've done this many years ago before I became a panel code making panel member. But I found a lot of value just sitting there. Because you're not allowed to participate in discussions.
Right.
It's only for panel members. But just sitting in the room, watching the discussions, learning from all the
yeah, all the
like all
dialogue,
different opinions,
So
different perspectives.
that's-
It's very valuable.
So I used to sit around the panel as well, and those chairs are very uncomfortable. You got your computer in your lap.
Not as comfy as these
I'll
guys.
tell you, when you're sitting there listening to the debate or watching a presentation from whomever is trying to get the panel to do what they want them to do, and you hear the debate, you hear the dialogue, and you get like the rest of the story. Because you'll hear the challenges that are presented in the language that they're proposing, and then what it does, it helps you. If you are going to make a public input, you learn from others' mistakes, right? So you look at what was proposed, you listen to the dialogue, and then you understand that whenever you're going to make your proposal, what mistakes not to make.
And you even learn from your own mistakes, because if you submit a public input, it's not the end of it. If the panel doesn't agree
Right.
with you, you can always come back during the public comment stage, right? So
right.
you being there, you cannot understand the reason that the panel decided not to, create a first draft based on your
That's right.
your public input, and you can always address it during the public comment stage. And it's not the end of the story. If it's resolved,
That's right.
you can always bring it back. But this time, I would say you're smarter, because you got to hear the panel members' discussions, debates, and you kind of see where the problems are. If you can address the issue that the panel had,
Yeah.
they will probably create a second draft, and
Yep.
boom,
And
make a change.
so next week, starting Sunday through Wednesday, is the IAEI Western Section meeting. I hope to see everybody there at the Western Section meeting. We have a huge attendance, which is really great. We have a lot of
Where
great
is it called?
topics.
Where-
It's in a park called Oglebay Park, which is in West Virginia, near Weirton, West Virginia. It's about 30 minutes from my home. So I'm going to drive down to, which I don't know that I got a hotel room.
Oh, you're going to be driving every day back and forth.
I've got to get a hotel room. Yeah, and I think I might have to leave late Tuesday night to go to DC for a NEMA strategy meeting. So it's going to be another long week next week. I can't wait to get home. And so that means Tuesday I will be at the Western Section meeting, and
You're going to go live from there?
you know what?
I won't be there, unfortunately. But
It will be at lunch, because it'll be 12 o'clock Eastern. And I'll bet you that's what I'm going to do. I have to test my internet connection to see if I have
Stream
good
live,
connection.
yeah.
Ryan Jackson's going to be there. Ryan Jackson says, hey, yeah.
Hey, Ryan.
Ryan's going to be there. Ryan's doing a paper, or he's doing a paper. I mean, the actual, he's doing a presentation on services, and that should be an exciting. If Ryan Jackson's doing a presentation on services, I am going to sit back and watch the room ignite. Because I know he can take that room and he can get them going. He can engage. He's dynamic. His depth of knowledge is very respectable. And I'm going to be thinking of those questions, Ryan, that I can ask that's going to stump you.
Well, good luck, buddy.
I know.
This is a big job.
That's going to be a big job.
It's not an easy one.
No,
good
not
luck.
an easy one. So you will get to see Ryan Jackson. Look, you got all the hearts on there. Oh, I love you too, buddy. So
You guys are gonna have fun.
I don't even know how you did that. I don't even know how you can do that stuff. But anyway. So Ryan Jackson will be there. A lot of others will be there talking, talking technical topics, and pulling together a program where we will learn together. Much similar. It's different. This is different. It's just different topics and for different types of audiences.
It's all learning opportunities and networking.
Absolutely, and that's what it's all
different
about.
organizations have different approaches.
Absolutely.
But it's still at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I find back to the point we're talking about the code making panel meetings. I find a lot of the connection I made and the learning happened for me during coffee breaks, during after hours. That's where you get to sit. That's how I got to meet Tom back in the day, right? You're gonna get to sit with the code making panel members, listen to what they're saying, their debates, like someone like Ryan Jackson with experience and background, learn from them, and get to know them on a personal level.
That's right.
And then they become your friends before you even notice. Oh, you're gonna hang out with those guys that I used to read their names.
And some of my closest friends have begun over disagreements around the code.
Yeah.
We have a disagreement, we argue, and one of us was probably, sometimes we're both right, saying the same thing a different way. I've had those discussions, and where I'm sitting there and we're having this debate, and I'm talking to somebody, and they're passionately saying something, and then I'm like, I agree, and then I restate my position, and then he, and then it's like, well, and then he disagrees, and then after a while you're like back and forth, and then finally I don't know which one of us will admit it, and we'll go, we're both saying the same thing. I don't even know why we're getting passionate about it.
We're on the same side, the same team.
We're on the same team here. It's like, it's amazing.
But it's part of the fun.
It is. It's part of the fun. It is. And hopefully you guys and gals got to watch the IEEE News Live that I recorded for today at 12 o'clock.
I haven't yet. I was in meetings with Tom.
And I'm going to confess, I recorded that from 12 o'clock midnight last night to 1 o'clock a.m. I don't know if they can zoom in on the videos, but my eyes were probably bloodshot because I was tired like you would not believe. I picked the topic of overcurrent protection. So
when this was picked at 11 p.m. 11:30. It's like Tom was like, what should I talk about?
I knew what I was going to do. And I picked that for a couple different reasons. And one of the reasons was there's a tutorial this week on overcurrent protection, and a tutorial here, which we didn't talk about, tutorials occur after the session, and those are 4 hours at a pop.
Yeah, it could be a half a day, 4 hours, or 8 hours.
Or it could be 8 hours.
I think most likely it's 4 hours, but some are, if you're long enough, it'd be 8 hours.
So there's a topic on overcurrent protection, and it got so popular they had to turn off the registration.
Who's presenting
and tell people, I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
And tell people no, because it was such a hot topic, and that's what got me, when I heard that, I'm like, you know what? I'm doing mine on overcurrent protection. And then when I looked at the IAI's YouTube channel, when you go to the administration thing, there's all of these little fireworks and sparks and whatnot. So it got a lot of views within the first I think within the first hour they tell you if it's outperforming other videos, and it was outperforming other videos. So
it's an important topic.
That was a good thing.
And back to tutorials, last year Tom and Kevin Arnold, hi Kevin if you're watching us, did a great tutorial on NEC 2023 changes.
That's
and
right.
we were PCIC in Denver last year, and it was very popular. The room was full.
It was. And that gives me an idea too.
See, tutorial for next year. Tutorial
Yeah,
for random.
but it's too late to put a tutorial in for next year, isn't it?
I've talked to the lead. I'm not sure because tutorials are different. Like they don't get voted.
I'm going to talk to Dilip. I'm going to talk to Dilip because I'd love to do a tutorial for next year.
Yeah, I don't know what I mean, you submit, but I don't know what the call for tutorials could be on the website.
I will go to the website.
And
just like we told everybody else to go to the website. We're going to take our own advice. I'm going to go to the website, even though I'll probably see Dilip a little bit later, and a few others on the committee to ask about that. But I would love to do another tutorial. I should have put one in for this year, but I just I'm booked. I can't. I got to say no sometimes.
So what is the topic?
I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say. You're going to have to show up in 2024. Come to Orlando to see A, if I got a tutorial accepted, and B, what the topic is.
So we're going to call it the Tommy D tutorial.
The Tommy D tutorial.
Tommy D tutorial.
Yeah.
You have to come to Orlando.
TD Unplugged. That's right.
Right.
All right. So we've been going. We're going good. I've got to head down to the Eaton hospitality suite, and then I'm going to dinner with some people.
I think you said your dinner is like 5:15.
5:45. I got to meet downstairs.
5:45. Okay. Because I have to meet people at 6:15, so have an hour.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining in and watching and listening to our rambling about IEEE PCIC. I hope to see you at a future IEEE meeting, whether it be the electrical safety workshop, which happens in the fall, in the spring, or this one, which happens in the fall, close to the fall, or at an IAEI event like the Western section.
Or at the first
Good seeing you too, Ryan. We'll see you
meeting in
either probably Sunday or Monday or whenever you get into West by God, Virginia.
I was to say, or we see you at the first draft meeting in Charleston.
Yeah, we'll see you in Charleston
Carolina.
at the first draft meeting. I'll look around the wall, and I want to see who's there, who took vacation to come to Charleston, South Carolina, to sit around a wall and watch a code making panel. So sit and argue and debate about the word and or the word or maybe if you're lucky, we'll argue on whether or not it's a comma or an Oxford comma.
I knew this was coming.
Yes.
Oxford comma. And you had like almost the whole program on what is a kitchen.
Yeah,
what's a garage? So we get to argue.
Garage and kitchen.
What is a kitchen?
Yep. And last night we realized that you can have a ground fault that's not an overcurrent.
Ground fault that's not overcurrent?
Absolutely. If your ground fault current is, say you have a 200 amp circuit and your ground fault current is 20 amps.
Oh, I mean, it's like high resistance grounding, right? Like it's a ground.
It's right. It's not an overcurrent.
Okay. Oh,
it's not an overcurrent because it's within the rating of all the equipment.
Okay, I see what you're saying. It's a ground fault.
It's a ground fault, but it's not an overcurrent.
Yeah.
So not so.
That's why your fuses breakers are not going to respond to it because it's
so overcurrents can be ground faults, but not all ground faults. And ground faults can be overcurrents, but neither is the case all the time.
Yeah.
So I learned that yesterday. That was like sort of at 12:30 in the morning, you have these revelations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, tell me about it. I went to bed at 3 a.m. I was up at 5:45. It's been a rough day. I was specifically not drinking any alcohol because I wanted to make sure that when I went live, I was coherent. Yeah, and like Tom said, so. Thank you guys. I think you're just thanking everyone that they're listening to our rambling. And like Tom always says this, and I love it. We don't have a script or anything. We just go live and talk. Tom and I are really good friends. We're buddies. And you always say this: what comes out of here comes out of here. So what comes out of here? I love that one. Starts up here, comes from the heart. So this is what we're doing. And Ryan Jackson says a fault in a PV system is typically not an overcurrent as well. That's exactly right. And I don't know why, Ryan, I don't know why that little piece of information is so interesting to me. I don't know what it is because, I think, I don't know if it's the fact that, whenever we talk about ground faults, why do we say overcurrent? Well, what is an overcurrent? It's a short circuit, it's an overload, or a ground fault. But that's not, saying it that way is not true. You could,
It could be it's definitely an overload, because if you have it's any current that exceeds a rating of a conductor or equipment, period. That's where you should stop. And whether or not it's a ground fault, it's an overload, or if it's whatever it is, that current has to exceed a rating. And if it does not exceed a rating, it can be a short circuit, it can be a ground fault.
It's like an
It's
arcing
not
fault.
an overload.
Like an arcing fault. It doesn't
not
have
an
a lot of
overload.
energy. It's just not going to trigger your fuses or breakers because it's not.
As long as it doesn't exceed the rating of the
Your
equipment.
the pickup value or
From an RMS perspective, because equipment's rated in RMS.
Right.
So if you take the RMS of an arc, we're getting into a whole nother session, and we have to go.
This should
So-
be your next IEEE program.
Yeah, no, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. All right.
One of
So,
these days.
okay. So thanks everybody for tuning
Thanks,
in.
everyone.
We'll see you, Ryan
Thanks,
Jackson.
Ryan. Thanks. Felix was on.
Felix Sandoval.
Thank you, Felix.
Yes.
I was trying to remember Felix.
Yep,
Felix was
from
online.
Colombia. Yes.
Right.
So thanks everybody. Thanks for those who are watching this live, and thank you very much for those of you who are watching this as a recorded session, because you can check it out on my YouTube channel. If you can find, I don't know, YouTube's the best place to go. Hit that thumbs up, hit subscribe, check the bell. You'll know when we go live. All right.
Totally.
Thank you, Nehad, for
Thank you,
joining
Tom.
me
It was a
too.
pleasure. Well, hopefully we'll try to get to go live tomorrow a little bit early because Tom has to go to the airport.
Hopefully, we'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah.
Take care, stay safe, and please
Stay healthy. Have a good evening, everyone.